The people negotiating it don't have a clue. Our president doesn't have a clue. He's a bad negotiator. He's the one that did Bergdahl. We get Bergdahl, they get 5 killer terrorists that everybody wanted over there. We get Bergdahl, we get a traitor. We get a no-good traitor, and they get the 5 people that they wanted for years, and those people are now back on the battlefield trying to kill us. That's the negotiator we have. Take a look at the deal he's making with Iran. He makes that deal, Israel maybe won't exist very long. It's a disaster, and we have to protect Israel. But so we need people. I'm a free trader. But the problem with free trade is you need really talented people to negotiate for you. If you don't have talented people, if you don't have great leadership, if you don't have people that know business, not just a political hack that got the job because he made a contribution to a campaign, which is the way all jobs just about are gotten, free trade is terrible. Free trade can be wonderful if you have smart people. But we have people that are stupid. We have people that aren't smart. And we have people that are controlled by special interests. And it's just not going to work. So here's a couple of stories. Happened recently. A friend of mine is a great manufacturer. And, you know, China comes over and they dump all their stuff. And I buy it. I buy it. Because, frankly, I have an obligation to buy it. Because they devalue their currency so brilliantly. They just did it recently, and nobody thought they could do it again. But with all our problems with Russia, with all our problems with everything, they got away with it again. And it's impossible for our people here to compete. So I want to tell you this story. A friend of mine is a great manufacturer. Calls me up a few weeks ago. He's very upset. I said, what's your problem? He said, you know, I make great product. And I said, I know that because I buy the product. He said, I can't get it into China. They won't accept it. I sent a boat over and they actually sent it back. They talked about environmental. They talked about all sorts of crap that had nothing to do with it. I said, oh, wait a minute, that's terrible. Does anyone know this? He said, yeah, they do it all the time with other people. I said, they send it back? Yeah. So I finally got it over there and they charged me a big tariff. They're not supposed to be doing that. I told them. Now, they do charge a tariff on trucks. When we send trucks and other things over there, ask Boeing. They wanted Boeing secrets. They wanted their patents and all their secrets before they agreed to buy planes from Boeing. Hey, I'm not saying they're stupid. I like China. I sell apartment for I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China. Am I supposed to dislike them? I own a big chunk of the Bank of America building in 1290 Avenue of the Americas that I got from China in a war. Very valuable. I love China. The biggest bank in the world is from China. You know where their United States headquarters is located? In this building, in Trump Tower. I love China. People say, oh, you don't like China. No, I love them. But their leaders are much smarter than our leaders. And we can't sustain ourselves with that. There's too much. It's like take the New England Patriots and Tom Brady and have them play your high school football team. That's the difference between China's leaders and our leaders. They are ripping us. We are rebuilding China. We're rebuilding many countries. China, you go there now, roads, bridges, schools, you never saw anything like it. They have bridges that make the George Washington Bridge look like small potatoes. And they're all over the place. We have all the cards, but we don't know how to use them. We don't even know that we have the cards because our leaders don't understand the game. We could turn off that spigot by charging them tax until they behave properly. Now they're going militarily. They're building a military island in the middle of the South China Sea, a military island. Now, our country could never do that because we'd have to get environmental clearance. And the environmentalists wouldn't let our country. We would never build an ocean. They built it in about 1 year, this massive military port. They're building up their military to a point that is very scary. You have a problem with ISIS, you have a bigger problem with China. And in my opinion, the new China, believe it or not, in terms of trade, is Mexico. So this man tells me about the manufacturing. I say, that's a terrible story. I hate to hear it. But I have another one, Ford. So Mexico takes a company, car company, that was going to build in Tennessee, rips it out. Everybody thought the deal was dead. Reported in the Wall Street Journal recently. Everybody thought it was a done deal. It's going in, and that's going to be it, going into Tennessee. Great state, great people. All of a sudden, at the last moment, this big car manufacturer, foreign, announces they're not going to Tennessee. They're going to spend their $1 billion in Mexico instead. Not good. Now Ford announces a few weeks ago that Ford is going to build a $2.5 billion car and truck and parts manufacturing plant in Mexico. $2.5 billion. It's going to be one of the largest in the world. Ford, good company. So I announced that I'm running for president. I would, one of the early things I would do, probably before I even got in, and I wouldn't even use, you know, I know the smartest negotiators in the world. I know the good ones, I know the bad ones, I know the overrated ones. You got a lot of them that are overrated. They're not good, they think they are. They get good stories because the newspapers get buffaloed. But they're not good. But I know the best negotiators in the world. And I'd put them one for each country. Believe me, folks, we will do very, very well. Very, very well. But I wouldn't even waste my time with this one. I would call up the head of Ford, who I know, if I was president. I'd say, congratulations. I understand that you're building a nice $2.5 billion car factory in Mexico, and that you're going to take your cars and sell them to the United States, zero tax. Just flow them across the border. And you say to yourself, how does that help us, right? How does that help us? Where is that good? It's not. So I'd say, congratulations, that's the good news. Let me give you the bad news. Every car and every truck and every part manufactured in this plant that comes across the border, we're going to charge you a 35% tax. Okay? And that tax is going to be paid simultaneously with the transaction. And that's it. Now, here's what's going to happen. If it's not me in the position, it's one of these politicians that we're running against. You know, the 400 people that we're already against. And here's what's going to happen. They're not so stupid. They know it's not a good thing. And they may even be upset by it. But then they're going to get a call from their donors, or probably from the lobbyist for Ford, and say, you can't do that to Ford because Ford takes care of me and I take care of you, and you can't do that to Ford. And guess what? No problem. They're going to build in Mexico. They're going to take away thousands of jobs. It's very bad for us. So, under President Trump, here's what would happen. The head of Ford will call me back, I would say within an hour after I told him the bad news. But it could be he'd want to be cool, and he'll wait till the next day. You know, they want to be a little cool. And he'll say, please, please, please. He'll beg for a little while, and I'll say, no interest. Then he'll call all sorts of political people, and I'll say, sorry, fellas, no interest, because I don't need anybody's money. It's nice. I don't need anybody's money. I'm using my own money. I'm not using the lobbyists. I'm not using donors. I don't care. I'm really rich. I'll show you that in a second. And by the way, I'm not even saying that in a braggadocious. That's the kind of mindset, that's the kind of thinking you need for this country. So, because we got to make the country rich, it sounds crass. Somebody said, oh, that's crass. It's not crass. We got 18 trillion in debt. We got nothing but problems. We got a military that needs equipment all over the place. We got nuclear weapons that are obsolete. We've got nothing. We got Social Security that's going to be destroyed if somebody like me doesn't bring money into the country. all these other people want to cut the hell out of it. I'm not going to cut it at all. I'm going to bring money in, and we're going to save it. But here's what's going to happen. After I'm called by 30 friends of mine who contributed to different campaigns, after I'm called by all of the special interests and by the donors and by the lobbyists, and they have zero chance at convincing me, zero. I'll get a call the next day from the head of Ford. He'll say, please reconsider. I'll say no. He'll say, Mr. President, we've decided to move the plant back to the United States. We're not going to build it in Mexico. That's it. They have no choice. They have no choice. Assets of $9 billion. So I said, no, that's the wrong number. That's the wrong number. Not assets. So they put together this. And before I say it, I have to say this. I made it the old-fashioned way. It's real estate. You know, it's real estate. It's labor, and it's unions good and some bad, and lots of people that aren't in unions, and it's all over the place, and building all over the world. And I have assets, big accounting firm, one of the most highly respected, $9,240 million. And I have liabilities of about 500. That's long-term debt, very low interest rates. In fact, one of the big banks came to me and said, Donald, you don't have enough borrowings. Could we loan you $4 billion? I said, I don't need it. I don't want it. And I've been there. I don't want it. But in 2 seconds, they give me whatever I wanted. So I have a total net worth, and now with the increase, it'll be well over $10 billion. But here, a total net worth of $8 billion. Net worth, not assets, not liability, a net worth. After all debt, after all expenses, the greatest assets, Trump Tower, 1290 Avenue of the Americas, Bank of America building in San Francisco, 40 Wall Street, sometimes referred to as the Trump building, right opposite the New York City, many other places all over the world. So the total is $8,737,540,000. Now, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to brag, because you know what? I don't have to brag. I don't have to, believe it or not. I'm doing that to say that that's the kind of thinking our country needs. We need that thinking. We have the opposite thinking. We have losers. We have losers. We have people that don't have it. We have people that are morally corrupt. We have people that are selling this country down the drain. So I put together the statement, and the only reason I'm telling you about it today is because we really do have to get going. Because if we have another 3 or 4 years, you know, we're at 18 trillion now. We're soon going to be at 20 trillion. According to the economists, who I'm not big believers in, but nevertheless, this is what they're saying, that 24 trillion, we're very close. That's the point of no return. $24 trillion. We will be there soon. That's when we become Greece. That's when we become a country that's unsalvageable. And we're going to be there very soon. We're going to be there very soon.
Make America strong!
So, just to sum up, I would do various things very quickly. I would repeal and replace the big lie Obamacare. I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me. And I'll build them very inexpensively. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. The people negotiating it don't have a clue. Our president doesn't have a clue. He's a bad negotiator. He's the one that did Bergdahl. We get Bergdahl, they get 5 killer terrorists that everybody wanted over there. We get Bergdahl, we get a traitor. We get a no-good traitor, and they get the 5 people that they wanted for years, and those people are now back on the battlefield trying to kill us. That's the negotiator we have. Take a look at the deal he's making with Iran. he makes that deal, Israel maybe won't exist very long. It's a disaster, and we have to protect Israel. But so we need people. I'm a free trader. But the problem with free trade is you need really talented people to negotiate for you. If you don't have talented people, if you don't have great leadership, if you don't have people that know business, not just a political hack that got the job because he made a contribution to a campaign, which is the way all jobs just about are gotten, free trade is terrible. Free trade can be wonderful if you